Hello and welcome to the Anime Outlook, and today I'm going to be doing my first chapter review of World Trigger. Now for today I'm reviewing and going through chapter 207 of World Trigger, and I must say I absolutely loved this chapter. But before I go into why I loved it and what happens, please do hit that like and subscribe button, and I must say when I get to 1,000 subscribers I will be doing a character tier list of World Trigger, and I must say this chapter really changed how some characters are viewed on that tier list, I must say. But now let's get into what this chapter is, how it works, and just how I felt about it. Now, to summarise this chapter, it's all about the interactions between the teams, showing us some more depth as to the characters and how they feel about this test and how this next arc is going to go. This is a chapter all about learning. It's all about the rules of the first part of the test, as well as learning about characters. And I absolutely love this because it really shows how the author, I don't want to butcher his name, how he writes his story, and it shows that he is taking his time with the story and doing it his way, because if he was rushing, if he was trying to get this story over, he would not have a chapter this long and literally have kind of no significant progression. Like all they've done in this chapter was enter the pod or pretend spaceship, learned how the main part works and how it runs on Trion, and as well as this they learnt about their leaders and the leaders of the squads and how they put the squads together, and you really get an insight into how these teams are going to go and what exactly this test is going to be like, and gives you an insight in how these characters are going to get along. But let's go through some of the pages of the chapter. You start off with Osamu splitting up with the gang. They're all going their separate ways, and then he meets up with his squad, which I must say Katori is looking fine in that outfit. But getting to the main point is that you see that these are all real people. They're not just soldiers. They're there in casual clothing, they're friendly, and they've all got their own unique response, which is something that I really like about World Trigger, is that each character, they have their own way of doing things. They're all unique, even with such a large cast. Now, moving forwards, they have to change their clothes and only bring in some personal effects. Now, what I loved about this was these ridiculous long sleeve designed shirts that they've all been given to wear, which is just a nice funny joke. And they go into their pod or sealed environment, as they call it, and they find out that it all runs on Trion, which is very similar to how I assume the spaceship is going to work on the away mission, because that's why they need Chica, because she can provide a lot more Trion for it to run. So this is going to be something very similar in the away mission that is being tested here, and how they manage the use of their Trion, which I love, is the fact that every little intricate part needs to be planned out and needs to be thought carefully about. And then moving on, you've got more explanations about how some parts work on electricity and others work only based on Trion and individual Trion. Now, something I'm curious about is because they're constantly in their Trion body, so theoretically they can't keep reproducing Trion themselves. So throughout these 10 days or this week that they're in this pod, they're really going to have to manage their Trion levels. And you've got to think that Osamu does not have a large amount of Trion. He is really going to struggle, because when you think about it, he can't really replenish his Trion supply, because they're going to be in the Trion bodies the whole time. At least for the first day anyway, as it says, for the duration of the test, from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, please keep your Trion bodies active. I don't know if that means the whole week or just the first day, I'm not sure, but that could be a possible issue that comes up in the future. Then they go into telling us about the leaders of the groups, in which I was really fascinated, and I'm glad we got to learn each reasoning between the leaders and why they picked their squad. So you've got the first squad, and that is the Utagawa Squad. I'm going to be butchering a lot of names here. His squad was picked because he wanted a team that excels in mobility and is adapted to long-term combat, which I agree with and shows great planning ahead, because we all know the second stage is about combat. Also, you get to see a hint of his leadership straight away from telling Yuma and Kitazo that they should help their teammate out, because she's not used to hanging out with guys, and she has a little brother, so since they're younger, she might be able to open up more to them, which is a great insight into that. He knows his team, he's done his research, and he is trying to make the most comfortable area for his team as possible, which is great to see. And then you move on to OG Squad, and I know OG's got a lot of like fangirls since he is a very handsome man, I believe anyway. And his basic idea was that he wanted a fun squad that can run and use swords. So when looking at it, you can tell that he didn't put too much thought into it. He just stuck to what his squad normally does. As the OG squad, they all use swords and they all work very well as a team and a unit under his leadership. So this was great to see. He's sticking to his style, and you also get to see some funny interactions between Suji, who obviously isn't comfortable with girls, and you also get to see Ikoma being himself. Then moving on to the Kakizaki Squad, which is a very interesting combination. You already see that Kagura and Unukai are going to have problems because he immediately goes that he does not get well with him. And Inukai just casually goes, "Oh, I had no clue." But Kakizaki chose a squad that was predominantly for the battle phase. He picked all great attackers and experienced A ranks in those two. So, and then you've also just got Taichi in his funny shirt, and I must say Taichi is quickly becoming a much more favoured character for me, because the way he just says peace and love, man, is perfect. I loved it. Then moving on to Kitazo's squad, I think I said that wrong, but you can tell that he really is a free-spirited character. The fact he just goes, I think it's a squad of all 16-year-olds would feel pretty comfortable, you know? And then you've got the great interactions of Kiku Chihara, and then you've got Minami Sawa next to him, who is... they're complete opposites. One's just full of energy, and then one's just like, oh, why am I next to this guy? I don't want to be in this guy's team. It's just really funny. I love these interactions between characters, because you're seeing people that you normally wouldn't see together, and I love it. Next, you've got Kurama Squad, the god tier leader. As normal, he's just the nicest guy ever, and there's no particular problems with their squad. He just picked them because they're all positive guys, easygoing, and they have a lot of stamina. Then you've got Kadera's squad, and everything's casual with them. Same as usual, nothing particularly special about their squad, just nice interactions. They're all just people that pick up the slack for their teams, as was mentioned in the previous chapter. And then you've got Ninomiya's squad, in which he has an interaction with Emma, who's like, don't tell them that you picked me because I wanted to be with Chika, but he comes up with good reasoning anyway. He picked 3 snipers, just like the Arafune squad, which Computer Girl, I can't remember their names right now, sorry about that. The girl that runs the computers and the triggers is normally used to working with, so he does have good reasoning behind all that squads, and he has that kind of aggressive moment towards Chika, but it makes sense. He's telling her outright, don't slow us down like you do with your own team, showing that he is going to be tough on Chika, unlike Osamu, which I really want to see. I want to see the progression of Chika within this test, because she's dealing with people that she normally doesn't deal with. Moving on, you've got the Mizukami Squad. He just wanted a load of smart people, and you can tell this guy's having a real different experience from some of the other team leaders, because he straight up just says, we can blow the competition away during this sealed environment phase and collect our 150,000 yen bonus for the month. That's why you're here with me. From that, you can instantly see that he's looking at this from a very different perspective. He's looking at the test and the fact that he wants to get his bonus. He doesn't care as much about getting on the away mission, because he's just going through the test. If he goes on the away mission, I think he'll just be fine with it. And I think he'll be fine if he doesn't. He kind of just wants to get that bonus, get the job done well, stick to what his squad can do best. He doesn't believe that they're going to perform that great in the second part of the test for the battle phase. And then you've got the Murakami Squad. God, this is a long chapter, and I do apologise if this is a very long chapter review and it's not going to be the best, because it is my first one. But then you move on to the Murakami Squad, and he's just simply going, I picked whoever I thought was best in that moment, and I love this fact. Like, he is being a leader of when he knows he needs to rely on his team. He doesn't need to lead them with an iron fist. He doesn't need to do anything of that sort. He has his shortcomings, and he wants to learn on the job, and with all their help. Then you've got Wakamura's squad, which is, to be honest, the squad I'm worried about the most, because he does not seem to be a very good leader, and he's kind of a very nervous guy. Doesn't know what he's doing. He's uncoordinated, and I really want to know why he was picked to be a leader in this test, but he simply says, I picked whoever I thought was best in the moment. And then you've got Yoshito, who's like, he didn't have a choice when it came to me, like, which shows that he has some insecurity, but not much else happened with that. And then you've got to Sua's squad, which I love. Sua in this chapter, he's just a man who follows what he does. And does a lot of stuff based on instinct, and he's just so cool. I want to know more about him because he is a very cool character in my opinion. And he just goes, and my instincts put this squad together. I don't think we've got a bad bunch here. It's just so casual and straightforward. It's Katori being cute and being like, instincts? How dare you choose me based on instincts? But then you've got the good reasoning by Oki, which I love the fact that Oki got given his cap as it's his trademark and you can't just take that away from him. But he makes the good point of that Katori has a large pool of Trion, whilst a lot of other members don't have him. Some potential in Sua as a leader and as someone in border, because he figured out that the lotting was rigged, which I was not expecting this, and I think this was a really good idea to have in the story, because the whole rigging was that it was put together so people who didn't like each other, who didn't get along well, would end up being in the same squads. And you see that nervousness between Katori and Osamu of like, oh, she goes, got something you want to say? And Osamu's like, me? No, nothing at all. and then you got Oki just saying, oh, 10 minutes in and you're already fighting, how fun. And I'm going to really love the interactions of this squad, because Osamu and Katori, I'm going to love seeing a new side of Osamu, and Oki just seems so chill and fun. Now, moving on, we get to find out some more about this test, and that in this test they're constantly being monitored. And to be honest, I didn't think we were going to see much of the monitoring room, and seeing that the A squads will be monitoring them. I thought it would have been this whole professional group, which is really interesting. I want to know how this is all going to work in the grand scheme, because sadly we didn't find out too much about the rules and how the A squad is going to interact, and how they're going to manage and like grade the teams. And we also get to see the first steps of the leaders and what they do. And then we're shown the issues of Hughes and him not being able to read Japanese because he's Canadian, right guys? And he has to get read to the rules. And I'm really upset about this, because I want a whole like 5 pages of all the rules that are given to the leaders, because I just want to know what's going to happen. Like, is there going to be some like bungee jumping thing? Is there going to be some tickling competition? You never know what's going to happen, because they want to see the interactions between squads. So I really want to know all the steps, but that is something that I'm really looking forward to in itself. So I'm kind of glad they didn't give it to us, but I really want to know. And we also get to find out something rather interesting about Houston, how he communicates with people, and that's because that the non-Trion body and Trion body can interact, and the fact that if either the listener or the speaker is using a Trion body, the Trion allows one to interpret the words. It's really interesting to know. But what really interests me and what I'm really excited to see is the Mizukami Squad, because he seems like he's going to be a really interesting leader, because the first act you see him doing is when giving the information to his squad, as their computers can only get information from the main computer, which the information is given to him from the monitoring room. His first step is to delete the battle simulation assignment, and just goes, they don't need to see this now, which is really interesting, because I'm guessing it's due to the fact that he doesn't want any conflict between people, and the fact that they know they're going to be sort of enemies, and for people that want to get to the away mission, they're going to treat it more like a competition than becoming friends, getting along. They're going to be more antagonistic towards each other. And I'm guessing that's what he's trying to prevent. And as said in the monitoring room, it could be fun. He's made himself honorary editor of the rules, which is a great quote. And you're getting to see all the reactions of the people in the monitoring room, such as what we see from one of the operators, is that not sharing every last bit of data will give a leader more control over their underlings, which is one interesting to say them as their underlings, but still, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. But the true test is going to be once a squad starts taking the lead. Now, I love this because you're going to see the competitive side and seeing that people get aggravated about not being number one, and I must say I absolutely loved this chapter. It was phenomenally paced. Every character of every squad, you get to see something about them, something that interactions of characters, and I can see this being probably the best arc of World Trigger so far. But this was a great setup chapter, just introducing us to everyone once again, because there is such a large cast. I'm sorry if this was a bit long and was a bad chapter review in your opinion. Do give me feedback and tell me how you want me to do this in the future. But overall, I absolutely adored and loved this chapter. Now please like and subscribe. Remember, at 1k character tier list, so do look forward to that. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.